there, it's Emma here. Welcome to KCC's Thought for the Day. How are you doing? How's your week been? I don't know about you, but this week the news has made me feel really weary. And that's why I'd really like to take a few minutes today to talk to you about watching for God. Ever since I was a young teenager, I have been a people watcher. It started when my granddad and I had a day in London, and we went around exploring and looking at various sites, and then we sat on the wall of the National Gallery by Trafalgar Square and we watched the world go by. Honestly, I think my granddad probably just wanted a rest, but as I sat on the wall, there was so much to see. It was rush hour and there were loads of people going past, so many nations, so many people. It was the most beautiful sight, and the more I watched, the more still I became and the more I noticed. At first, it was the bright colours. I remember someone had bright yellow sneakers, and I noticed there were so many different kinds of coats and rucksacks. Later, I began to notice people's faces. Some were really caught up in the moments with their friends, some were clearly tired, they may be leaving work for the day, and some were troubled. They looked like they had the weight of the world on their shoulders. Then, every so often, someone would go past and they'd grab my attention. Maybe they were wearing a bright outfit or carrying a huge umbrella or a funny bag. Sometimes it's like that with God, isn't it? Something bright and amazing happens, and suddenly it can be much easier to see him. He grabs our attention and he stands out. We can read some of the incredible accounts of the life of Jesus in the New Testament. You know, blind men were given sight, the deaf heard, the dead were raised, storms were calmed. Surely it would be easy to watch for God in these moments. And in KCC, we have incredible stories of God breaking through. Something that was on an X-ray then wasn't on the X-ray anymore. We've had stories of incredible financial provision, arriving anonymously through the mail, people being healed, difficult situations seeing breakthrough after people gathered together and prayed. It's those wow moments. But what does it look like to watch God in this season? I remember the moment of learning to watch sitting on the National Gallery wall. To really watch, I had to be still. I had to stop wondering when we were going to leave, and to learn to perceive what I was seeing, I had to focus. I had to watch carefully, and as I did, I learnt to notice others and the details that they were carrying. So how do we watch for God? Well, we start by being still. And being still doesn't just mean stop moving. It means to let go or to surrender. Psalm 40 talks about being still in this way. It says, "Be still and know that I am God." It's a psalm that we're really familiar with in KCC, and the psalm was written in Hebrew. So if you check out the Hebrew meaning of be still, it means let go or surrender. For me, surrender means following God, not trying to do it my own way. It means taking a risk and being vulnerable. It means making mistakes and having another go. It means letting go and trusting God. Even though sometimes I just don't understand why things are happening the way they are. The amazing thing is, though, that as we let go, God begins to show us who he is, and we get to know him. My husband and I love to write encouraging cards to our sons. We chat about the things that we want to say, the gold that we want to call out, the love that we have for them and how we want to communicate it, and the particular encouragement that we might want to bring. We write sections of the cards that we feel particularly strongly about, and then we sign it off, love, mum and dad. Our boys know instinctively their dad's writing. It isn't just because his handwriting has a straighter form and the flicks are neater, but it's the content of what he writes. Anil consistently communicates his love and pride in who they are. They know it's him by what he's saying, in the content as well as the writing. It's the same with his footsteps or his whistle to them in the crowd. They recognise him because they know him. And they know him because they have intimacy, they have a history, they've made memories, they trust him, and they can hear his voice when they read his letters. What am I getting at? Well, to really understand what we see when we're watching for God, we need to know him. God isn't a far-off being. He's a God who loves relationship, and he longs for relationship with us. For us to walk with him and to talk with him, for us to listen as he speaks to us. Today, you can know him right now. You can take a minute to be still, to surrender. You might have struggled to connect with God in this season of the pandemic, but he is there and he is working. Right now, as you watch and listen, he's with you. God loves you and he knows you. And today, if you're thinking that no one knows your situation, he knows. He always has. So to watch God, it helps us to be still and surrender. And as we do, we get to know him more and we start to recognise that it is God. There are times when we forget to look. I don't know if you are like me, but sometimes I get focused on the things around me. I look to my circumstances and the challenges that they bring, and I can end up feeling overwhelmed and disappointed. Especially in this season of the pandemic, it's been really hard. But 2 Corinthians 4 verse 18 really speaks into this. It says, "So we don't look at the troubles that we can see now. Rather, we fix our gaze on the things that cannot be seen. For the things that we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever." If life was a treasure map, then 2 Corinthians 4 verse 18 would be a huge clue to finding the most amazing treasure. It challenges us to stop looking at our circumstances and struggles and instead to lift our heads to the skies, to God, and to see the horizon in faith. Horizons are amazing views, and many times they're such a source of hope, but at the very least, looking to a horizon helps us to see beyond the moment. Horizons bring hope that we can move beyond the struggles of now. This week, I want to encourage you to take time to surrender to God. Today, I want to encourage you to watch for God and wait for the moment when you see him work. Like the moment when he spoke to Dom, one of our leaders at KCC, about focusing on the verse, "Be still and know that I am God." So that it was our focus in KCC throughout 2019. In that year, we got to know God more. We didn't know what 2020 was going to bring. But then as 2020 approached, our focus as a church was on knowing God. We stayed with the verse and we leaned into him even more. And then at the end of September this year, he whispered the verse, "Be still and know that I am God," to me as I prayed about today's post. And then this week, the day after I wrote the post, it popped up on the daily prayer app that I use to help me walk with him each day. This is what the kindness and the grace of God looks like. When you choose to be still and you lift your eyes, he shows you how in control he is. He knows what you need and he loves you, and he speaks to you as you walk with him. God bless you today.